Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Adrielle, and no, I did not give up on BookTube and forget about it. I've just been so busy. Well, I recently finished college and everything, so I've been doing that kind of thing. I had finals and everything that wasn't school related fell to a massive back burner. I was like, I'll get back to BookTube when graduation's over and everything calms down, and yeah, so now is that time. I'm so glad to be back. I love doing this. And my time off reminded me how much I love doing this. So happy to be here, happy to film. Today's video will be about me doing a bookshelf tour. That's what we're doing today for the video. I've been wanting to do a bookshelf tour for a while, and I just haven't been home to do it because my shelves are here, not at my college apartment space. So I was like, I can't really do a shelf tour without my shelves. So now I'm home. And I'm so excited to show you guys my shelves. They're not anything special, but I'm filming this because I want to redo them. And this will be like a time capsule of how they used to look before they got their big upgrade. So without further ado, let's get into the bookshelf tour. Okay, so I have two shelves at the moment, and I think I'm gonna go ahead and start with this one. I'm not gonna talk about each of the books because I have like over 100 books in here, and the video would be an hour long, and I don't think anybody's interested in seeing that. So I'm just gonna keep it as brief as I can while explaining what everything is. So on the top of my first little baby bookshelf over here, also I really love this bookshelf. Like it's stunning. Okay, so I have a speaker so I listen to music, obviously. I have this. It actually lights up. It doesn't reach the outlet that's over there, and I need to get batteries in it so I can just let it light up without having to be plugged into the wall. But what usually happens is you can press these colors and it'll light up these colors. It's supposed to be the moon, so normally I just do like a white light, and then it shows up and it's like this really cool vibe, like peaceful, really cool. It'll even strobe if you ask it to. It'll like pulse. It'll do all that. It's pretty awesome. Here is a couple necklaces. My mother gave this to me because she's awesome. Like this whole she actually gave me this necklace too, and this one. She gave me this whole thing right here, essentially, like the head and everything. And I think she set it here just temporarily, and then I was like, that looks really good. I'm not moving it. This bottle over here, I don't feel like I need to explain, but this rose is here because I adore flowers. I'm trying to do I haven't started yet. I was gonna do like a floral bookshelf theme because I love flowers, but I never really finished, so it doesn't really come across anymore. And it used to come across a little better, but now it doesn't. So you're not gonna see that theme again here. And here is the Inheritance trilogy, like the entire 3 books. By N.K. Jemisin, who is an absolute queen, and we love her. But that book is just right there because it doesn't have a home right now because she's a little chunky, you know, and we love that, but she doesn't have a home. So I'm waiting until I can get a 3rd shelf so I can start okay. So until now, she's just a centerpiece to this area, but stunning. Okay, and now Harry Potter. We're not gonna talk about those books for reasons. Moving on. So then I have the Hunger Games. I have 3 of these. A friend is borrowing my first one, and they still haven't given it back. And I'm like, okay. So, hopefully they give it back soon, so I can have the entire Unwind. Series. This is, I can't really even see this. This is Frankenstein. This is a copy that I read back when I was in college. And I really want a fancy copy, like a really nice copy to go with this one. And maybe I can even, this probably has like my writing and stuff in it, like notes I took. So maybe I'll keep it just because it's precious for that. But I really want an aesthetically pleasing cover of Frankenstein because I actually have 2 copies of Frankenstein. But maybe I'll get another one, just one that's really pretty, because I absolutely love Frankenstein. And it's one of my favorite classics. So I think I should honor it on my shelf a little bit. And I really want to use one of these shelves, at least one of the layers on the shelf, just to dedicate it to classics and just go all out with that. But we'll see. And here's a couple more books. I think I read all of these in college, except for The Outsiders. I read that way back when. And I read this in high school. Night by Elie Wiesel. or I think that's how you pronounce his name. So sorry if it's not. Here's another classic favorite, Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. I love this book, and this is another one that I want an aesthetic cover for. This is the copy that I had in college, and I know I wrote all in this. Like, I loved this book. It was so fun. It was a good time. So I definitely would like to honor that book by getting a really nice copy and displaying it on my classical book shelf. Okay. So moving on to the second and final tier of this bookshelf over here. It's a little baby bookshelf. I have some James Dashner. I don't have the third one in this book right here, but we're working on it. The Red Queen. I have some of those books. I don't have the rest of them just because I kind of gave up on it. This is something, I read this in college as well. A lot of these on the shelf came from college. But this is a collection of short stories called Blacklight, and I've never heard anyone talk about it, but this book is amazing. Like, these short stories are just so... I really like them. I don't even know how to explain it. They're just... You should... If you're into short stories that are about realistic feeling people, then you should do this. But some of them have, like, a magical realism element to them, too, which... Like, that's my jam when it comes to short stories. Short stories with a magical realism feel. Also, I'm doing all this one-handed, you guys. So just really bear with me. This is not... This... I'm gonna put the camera down for a second. Okay, so back to the shelf. Another book over here that I have... Oh my god. I have a story behind this one. This is the first adult fantasy book that I ever read. Because I was YA fantasy all the way. And then I was like, you know what? I want to read some adult fantasy. I want to, like, branch out. And this was, like, a few years ago. I don't remember when. Maybe 3 years ago or so. It hasn't been that long since I've been reading adult fantasy. But this was the first adult fantasy I read. And it was so disappointing. I was like, that is the beginning of my foray into this new age group of fantasy. Like, I was so disappointed. Like, if you like this book, it's awesome. I mean, that's awesome. But, I mean, I really didn't gel with it. It just was not my vibe. And it was disappointing because it's called A Discovery of Witches. And I like witchy things and dark academia, and I just wanted this to be just all that, but it turned into something that I didn't like, and I don't think I'll be continuing the series because of that. But just seeing it, I feel like I would share that story. It's pretty funny, actually. Another classical favorite is right beside it, and I'm actually tired of pulling these books out because putting them back is not easy. But Beowulf. I love Beowulf. I read this in high school. I read it again a few years ago. I think maybe last year just for fun. And I think it's about time for a reread. I don't know what it is about Beowulf. But yeah, Beowulf is just he's such an interesting character, and like the story is just it's charming in that old-fashioned way to me. So I like it. Another one over here that is really worthy of talking about is El Deafo by C.C. Bell. I think more people should read this book. It's a graphic novel, and it's about a girl she gets sick when she's young, and so she goes deaf. And it's based on, I think, the author's real-life experiences. So if you've not read this, you should check it out, just because it's good to really show yourself other people's experiences, how they lived them. Some of this is fiction, but a lot of it, I believe, is based on things that happened to her. Plus, the illustrations are just so cute. But this girl gets sick when she's young. It makes her go deaf. And so then she has to wear like a hearing aid thing, but it gives her supersonic hearing. So at school, she can hear, like when the teacher will leave the classroom for a bit, she's able to hear when she's coming back, and so she can warn the whole class, like, oh, everybody be quiet, like, she's coming back, and just stuff like that. So she turns into, like, a superhero. So she's not just, like, a little girl anymore. She becomes El Deafo, well, in her mind, like, a little superhero. And it's cute because it's, like, a superhero thing, and it's a graphic novel, so it feels kind of like a comic book almost. I just think the whole notion of this is just adorable. Really beautiful story, so I recommend this 5 out of 5. You should check it out if you can. Also another book I read in college. All right, moving on to the big boy shelf. Another bottle of wine. Okay, to the big boy shelf. There's some books over here that I don't even want to talk about, but we're gonna get into it. Throne of Glass, don't want to talk about it. ACOTAR, or A Court of Thorns and Roses, that series. I only had the first one. I will not be continuing it. Just no. Even though I've heard the next book out is really good, but I'm sorry, I'm not interested. It was 2 of my favorite books of all time. Six of Crows, Cricket Kingdom. I'm here for it. Love it. This is like my Leigh Bardugo area, even though when I get a new shelf, I want to take all these books off of here that I have because all of her books are not together. And I just want to create like a whole Leigh Bardugo shelf just because she's my favorite author and she is a queen. There's a couple more books. I still don't have the last one in this series. I honestly don't know if I'll be reading it. Okay, so these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 books they don't really fit with anything because as you'll see soon, I have a Cassandra Clare shelf that it doesn't have any like cool mortal cups on it or anything cool, any paraphernalia from the movies or from the books or from the TV show or anything. It just has the books, but that's where all her books are except for these just because they did not fit. So the Lady Midnight trilogy is up here. The Ghost of the Shadow Market's here. Red Scrolls of Magic, the whole series will be up here. When the third one comes out, it'll be here. And yeah, so it'll be like the Cassie shelf part 2, if you know what I mean. And here is Kingdom of Souls. I actually haven't read this book yet. This book is in there. I don't even want to pull like it out of here. It's in there. This, it's in there too. It's called The Elementals by Michael McDowell. I really cannot get this out of the shelf. These books are in here. Okay, whatever. You see, The Elementals, Michael McDowell. One of the only horror books I've ever read because I'm really not into horror books. Or movies, really. When it comes to scary stuff, I think I prefer like psychological thriller and stuff like that. That just scares me way more. But I like paranormal stuff. I don't know, gravitate toward thrillers, like psychological thrillers more. They're both really good though. It's good genres. But so this is one of the only horror stories that I have on here. This book is so underrated. In fact, spoiler alert, I'm planning to do an underrated books that I love video, and this will most certainly be on there because that book is chef's kiss. Like, you guys, so good. I love the characters. I love the story. It makes me happy. And it is yet another book that I read in college. Okay, so here's more Leigh Bardugo books. As you can see, like, they're not together at all. Like, my shelves are a mess, you guys. And I'm just showing them off to you guys. Like, there's something to be proud of. So Leigh Bardugo Ninth House, which if you have been watching me for a while, you know this is one of my favorite books because it was on my favorite books of all time list because Leigh Bardugo, queen. We love her writing. We love her characters. We love her, like, character development. My goodness, she's so good at what she does. Okay, more Leigh Bardugo books. This is the King of Scars series. Like, it's just a duology, so it'll just be these two. These don't have their dust covers. I have the dust covers back here, actually. And I don't want to use them because they are so beautiful without the dust covers. Like, just look at the cover of that book. You can't really see it, but I'm so sorry. Actually, I'm reading this one right now. I just put it back on the shelf just to show because this is where it belongs, so I'm not reading it. But I was like, it's got to go in there because I have to talk about how pretty they are together. Beautiful. Okay, and some more books over here. And here's the Cruel Prince area. I would absolutely love to have some like Fae-related trinkets and stuff on the shelf just for these Holly Black books. Don't have that. Maybe I'll do that when I do an upgrade of my shelf. Okay, on to the third tier of this monster shelf already. These are aroma, like fragrance sticks. I love these. I just don't have any like scented oil in here, but the camera won't focus on that. Okay, moving on. This is where I keep all my poetry. So from Ruby Carr, I think her last name is pronounced Carr. If it's not, please like gently correct me because I really don't like to pronounce people's names wrong. And then Courtney Peppernell and her Pillow Thoughts 1, 2, and 3. I think 4 came out recently, I think. And if that's the case, I need to get on reading that immediately because these are I really vibe well with like the flash poetry. I enjoy that. But I also have some Emily Dickinson, whom controversially I didn't really enjoy. I don't feel like I need to say anything about Edgar Allan Poe. Have you watched the reading vlog? Okay. If not, you totally should. I'm going to link it above. Okay, here's The Starless Sea and some more Erin Morgenstern books. And here, I'm not even going to try to say her last name because I feel like I'm going to butcher it, but these books are so good. Like The Fountains of Silence and Salt to the Sea. If you have not read those, why is there a nail file? See, okay. So if you have not read these books, you should. They're historical fiction. They are my favorite historical fiction novels because this is my historical fiction like section. I don't have that many on the shelves, but I've read more from school and stuff like that that I just don't own. But these two are my favorite historical fiction books that I have ever read. They're so good. And you can tell she does all the research. She does so much research trying to make sure that the characters in the story are representative of that time period. And it just comes across in every page. And she's just, that is her thing. Like, historical fiction is just her realm, and she is the queen of it. Here's Daisy Jones and the Six, which, again, if you watch my favorite books of all time video, this is on there because so good. There's Again But Better by Christine Riccio, like queen of booktube. We love her. I've lost my train of thought. There's Tomi Adeyemi, Children of Blood and Bone, and Children of Virtue and Vengeance. I actually really like Virtue and Vengeance more. Okay. So, A Song of Wraiths and Ruin. Adore this book. It's on my favorite books of all time thing. Go check it out. Like, I keep saying that, but... And here's another favorite of all time, Pride of the Orange Tree. This has a lighter in it just because I like to light this candle even though it's almost gone. And, like, I always forget where my lighter is, so I just put it in the candle. I'm a mess. Okay. My other Edgar Allan Poe book, I actually don't have space for it, so I keep it right... That's kind of terrifying. Like... But anyway, so I keep it back there. Just because he doesn't have a home. We'll find him one when I get another shelf. So, anything here I want to talk about? Oh, the 5th season, N.K. Jemisin, yes. Love Boat Taipei, yes. The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, yes. And I still don't have the 3rd book in the Poppy War trilogy. Like, that is criminal. I do not have The Burning God. I want it so bad. This is one of my favorite books of all time. This book destroyed me in the worst way and in the best way. And this one did too. This one might have been worse. Like, they're if you've read them, you know exactly what I mean. If you haven't, I probably sound like a sputtering idiot, but trust me, they will take you to the brink of every emotion possible. And that's what I want as a reader, okay? I actually have not read this one. Robin Hobb, Royal Assassin. I did a rant or rave video about Assassin's Apprentice, and in that video I was like, I cannot wait to start Royal Assassin. I'm gonna take a break and I'm gonna get right into it, but I took a break and it's still happening. That was months ago. I did a reading vlog on this. Oh my gosh, The Way of Kings. I did a rant or rave review about that. One of my favorite books of all time. Like, whenever I remake that video, this will be on there. Like, good grief. Well, not remake it, but add, like, because I was planning on doing, like, my other favorite books of all time, just because that video did, like, I've read so much more since then, and I'm just like, okay, some new favorites. But yeah, we'll see. And I wanted to talk about, this is the only classic I have that has just a beautiful cover. Just stunning cover. Just look at it. And then it's got, like, the satin, is it really satin? I don't know. Bookmark in there, and it's got all the illustrations of Dracula. My only thing is I wish it had illustrations throughout. That would be amazing, but it doesn't have that. But this is still really beautiful. I love Dracula. I love this book. This reading was my first reading of Dracula. Like, I didn't get this in celebration of the fact that I already loved it. I bought this one from the bookstore, read it for the first time, listened along with the audiobook, which made it a little bit better because there were some parts where it dragged. But I love this book, and I adore this copy. It's beautiful. There's Vicious. I actually have not read Vicious. Also, I feel like I should put my V.E. Schwab books together because a lot of her books match. So when I get more, that will be a very aesthetically pleasing shelf. I haven't finished this one. I'm so, like, I kept saying I'm gonna finish it, but I still haven't, so just pretend it's not there. I'll get to it when I get to it. There's Legendborn. So good. If you haven't read that book, you're simply missing out because, yeah, okay. Like, the cover explains it all. It's lit. I haven't read In Ember in the Ashes either. I know, I'm really late to that party. I was thinking about doing a reading vlog of the entire series. We'll see. And here is the aforementioned Cassie Clare shelf with, like, all the books on it. Just like everything, except for these scant few. These 6 books that just didn't belong. Some of her books are like this big, and so they don't all fit on the same shelf. So yeah, that is my bookshelf tour 2021, or spring 2021, because I plan on redoing these very soon. I'm thinking about getting, like, fairy lights and putting some plants, because I have a green thumb and I adore plants, you guys. So I'm thinking about getting some like plants, the ones that like trail, so I can have that going with some like white fairy lights, and mixing the shelves and matching and doing shelves by author and by genre. I already kind of have it by genre, like my poetry here, my historical fiction here. I already kind of have an author shelf down here, but I wanted to make it more deliberate and just go above and beyond, because I think that will be amazing and aesthetically pleasing, and I like aesthetically pleasing things. So yeah, those are all 2 of my shelves. Like I kept saying throughout the video, we'll be getting another one soon, so I can really personalize and stylize and just go above and beyond and just be extra. I feel like I'm a really extra pro. I can just show that in my bookshelves, because like, why not? So yeah, that's all I have for you today. There will be another video next week, like I promise, because I'm gonna get back on track to how things were. I have a lot of video ideas coming up, and I'm super excited to film those. So I want to thank everybody for watching, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.